Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tennis Weekly with Joel, Kim, and Chris. On today's Tour Catch Up,
Sinner dispatches Alcaraz to seal Six King Slam.
Medvedev secures first title in 882 days.
And we go behind the scenes from the Stockholm Open.
Chris, today is the 20th of October, and we are here to catch up on the week in tennis at Tennis Weekly HQ. Lots and lots has happened over the last week. I can barely keep up. We've had another match in the Sinner-Alcaraz rivalry out in Saudi Arabia. Daniil Medvedev has finally won a tournament. Emma Raducanu has called it quits on her season. Rybakina also has won a title, edging perhaps towards a berth at the WTA end of season finals. She's in a race with Mirra Andreeva. We'll see who is gonna make the cut. Holger Rune suffered a heartbreaking injury, and Jack Draper has parted ways with his coach. So a bit of coaching corner, some news on Frances Tiafoe as well to get into in the second half, along with a whole host of tournaments this week, including Vienna and Bâle, which I'm really excited about because Jannik Sinner is in Vienna. I think actually it might be his final tournament before the Tour Finals. I think the rumours are he's not playing Paris. He's not in the Davis Cup squads either. So very, very interesting. We'll see. But Chris, you are back. You weren't with us last week because sadly you had lost your voice. So I have to ask you, has it returned?
Well, I survived the opening credits there, Joel, so I think it's almost back.
I was giving you as much time as possible.
Yeah, I've got a husky tone, listeners, so I do apologise if it doesn't sound crystal clear, but I'm back. It's quite a good reason, like a vocal injury, Joel, was why I wasn't here last week. So I wasn't on vocal rest at the Stockholm Open, I can confirm. Alina and I were busy asking questions, talking behind the scenes, and Alina will be joining us for that segment, Joel.
Yes, very, very excited for that. We're going behind the scenes, listeners, at the Stockholm Open. Alina is joining us in a little bit. So, yeah, definitely stick around for that. But we're going to get right into it. And Chris, as I say, you've been off for a week or so, just over a week. What has caught your attention in the tennis world?
Well, I mean, I don't know how it couldn't catch someone's attention, what's been going on in Kazakhstan, because at the Almaty Open, I cannot get enough of the media pictures that they have and sort of these promotional opportunities. They are so iconic, Joel.
Tennis tournaments are just like tourism. It's just like tourism for my city, tourism for my country.
It is. And when sometimes you think the media commitments players do complain about, and I think this is, some players might be complaining more than others because this is a picture of Darderi. We'll put it on our social media. With an eagle, he's holding it and he looks very concerned by it whilst also wearing traditional dress. And I just think fabulous. They're engaging with culture. You've got to love it. And then you've got, Korotin Mute, who's not famously a tall chap, who's on a very big horse next to quite a severe looking Kazakh man. Also iconic. And then the most iconic of all, Joel, you cannot have escaped this.
I saw this, yes.
Medvedev in his traditional Kazakh robe. I think it's called a chapan, potentially, symbolizing honor, respect, and hospitality in recognition of one's excellence. So I'll get one ordered for you, Joel, when you meet that criteria.
Yeah, I do love. I mean, we've been to various like Davis Cup events, and when Kazakhstan are there in attendance, their fans, the ultras, they come fully ready. Also,
top tier.
Yeah, exactly.
Drum at the ready.
Exactly.
An eagle outside.
It's not just the players, fans as well. But yeah, I absolutely love it. This photo with, is it an eagle? I'm not quite sure. The sizing is like, it looks like a giant bird, basically.
It is massive. So I think. I wonder what health and safety disclaimers had to be signed when you send your player.
Was it photoshopped in? I don't know. Listeners, let us know. We'll put it on our socials. You can tell us.
Indeed. And Joel, anything capture your attention quite like the goings on in Kazakhstan?
Well, I saw that there was a bit of history made this week on the This is from the ITF social channels, because I know recently we did have Novak Djokovic versus Marin Cilic on the ATP Tour, and I think that was accumulatively like the oldest match ever in like men's tennis, on the ATP Tour. Well, extending on that theme, Australian Henry Young played the American Arthur Lind, and between them, they had a combined age of 199 years. The 102-year-old Henry Young, 97-year-old Lin, they faced each other, get this, in the quarterfinals of the ITF World Championships in the 90-plus age category, with Lind coming out 6-1, 6-2. Park the scoreline aside for just a moment. 199 years between the two of them.
My goodness, it certainly puts us to shame, Joel. I did see a little clip of this, and they still can do some damage on the court. I think that's one of those things where if you've got it, you're always going to have it.
Exactly. Very, very impressive stuff. I'm just worried, is it going to give Djokovic some sort of inspiration that, I need to break every single record in the book? Has this given him some inspiration perhaps for retirement?
He's going to play until 103. We're talking about longevity in the second half, and these two players certainly have it.
Exactly. Right, let's move on and talk about the tennis this week. We're going to get into the tour events in a sec, but we do have to start with what has gone down in Saudi Arabia, the Six Kings Slam. And we had another final between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. Jannik Sinner is the champion of the Six Kings Slam. He defeated Alcaraz in the final 6-2, 6-4. Very commanding victory, let's say, for Jannik Sinner. He takes home a massive, massive prize. I think the biggest tennis prize pot in history of $6 million. But Chris, what did we learn from this event? And what did we learn from this kind of unofficial matchup between Sinner and Alcaraz?
Well, I probably learned where some of my Netflix subscription goes, probably into the pocket of Jannik Sinner. But did we
learn anything from this?
Great deal. I'm not sure
They put on a great light show.
I learned that Jannik Sinner is not about to give you his jacket on court. I think that was the most memorable moment for me, was when, I'm not sure exactly who it was, if they should have been on court, but they said, your jacket, and they pointed to it. I'd like it. And then they got carried off the court. So that was highly entertaining. In terms of the tennis, we have been spoiled when it comes to Sinner Alcaraz. And I think maybe they need the pressure of the real tennis scene. A lot of money. I'm sure they both wanted that paycheck, but 6 million, it's more than the US Open, but does it mean more to you than winning a slam?
Yeah, every single match was straight sets. Sinner winning the final. The only interesting thing I can sort of think about this, I was looking at their head-to-head. Their very first matchup on the tour was at the Paris Masters on an indoor hard court. Since then, they have not played each other, I believe, on an indoor hard. So do you still feel like Sinner is a little bit above Alcaraz when it comes to like this part of the year because of the surface?
Oh, that's a good question. I think indoor.
Alcaraz won that matchup, I will say, in Paris.
He's also
back in 2021.
He's won in Rotterdam this year as well. So I think it really depends on the day. I think who's having a good day and who's switched into gear, because Alcaraz looked great against Fritz. He looked quite ordinary against Sinner. Sinner made everyone look pretty ordinary. I'm surprised that Djokovic and Alcaraz only got one game more than Tsitsipas. I thought the Tsitsipas match might have been a bit of a whitewash. So I think it's a shame they didn't get a third set in any of the matches and only one set in the third place playoff for Djokovic. And it does make you question, are they just turning up for the paycheck, Joel?
Yeah, they must be. It's really astounding. I know the focus has been on how much the winners are taking home, but I think we all got to be remembering how much the losers are taking home, because Alexander Zverev, some maths whiz on social media have calculated his take home from the Six Kings Slam, $25,000 per minute.
My goodness.
Crazy.
That's a real number.
$416 per second. It's just kind of crazy, these sums. And you can absolutely see why these top players would rather play exhibition events.
Well, for sure. If you can turn up, swing a racket for a couple of sets, play. How many games did Zverev play in the end? I think it was under 20 games.
He won 7 games against Taylor Fritz. Well, it was a very quick job.
if you want a pay rise, you have to win quickly, I guess, and then per minute you're earning more. But I guess it's one of those things we're going to see more often. The positive of it is that it was on Netflix so that more fans could watch their favourites play. I think last year it wasn't, and it does give this opportunity. But at the same time, other tournaments might be suffering because of participation at these sorts of things. And not everyone who played this event is actually on the entry list for this week. And as you said, there are question marks around participation in Paris.
Yeah, I mean, Sinner is rumoured not to be playing the Paris Masters, not playing Davis Cup. So you do wonder whether he kind of factored this into his schedule. He is playing Vienna this week. So it might be kind of 2 events. I'm done, ready for the Tour Finals. I mean, just one other point I want to raise. Carlos Alcaraz actually in the build-up spoke about kind of the difference between exhibition events and tour events. And he actually was quoted as saying he thinks players are misunderstood when they kind of make when they play these exhibitions, and fans are seeing this like, well, you're complaining that the tour is too crazy and there's it's too much is going on, but you're taking these these exhibition events. So how can you talk? Alcaraz sort of said in response to that, well, the thing is you can't compare exhibition events to tour events because they require less mental and kind of physical toll on the body. I mean, where do you stand on that? Can you compare exhibition to tour level events, or do you think Carlos Alcaraz has a point?
I think his performance in Saudi Arabia makes you think that he doesn't approach them in the same way. I do get what he's saying. You have a free swing at UTS or something like that where you can earn a lot of money from very little effort, but those players do take it seriously because there is quite a lot of money on the line. And if you're there, you may as well test yourself and see. You
want to be invited back.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's probably going to get invited everywhere, but top of the list. But at the same time, I think he hasn't really told me anything I didn't know. Obviously, if you're playing a mixed doubles with Emma Raducanu against Anisimova and Frances Tiafoe, that's not going to be the most taxing on your body. But you can't really complain about all of the lengthy season when you're adding to this season, as well as also playing like a lot of tennis. So I would stick with him to the fact that when you win a lot, like he does, then you're playing a lot of tennis, and then you're the one who's suffering the most because he's won the most matches this year. But in terms of the idea that an exhibition, or anyone would think an exhibition requires the same amount, well, I don't think anyone thinks that. I think it's actually you're going for easy ride and quick money.
Well, let's have a look now at what has happened on the WTA Tour this week. We didn't have a Six King Slam equivalent for the higher ups on the WTA Tour. We did have
Ningbo Queens wasn't happening.
No, we did have though the Ningbo 500 event where Elena Rybakina won her 10th tour level title, defeated Alexandrova in the final 3-6, 6-love, 6-2. Rybakina still in the running to be in the mix for the end of season tour finals. I think it's come down now to a straight shootout against her and Mirra Andreeva. But Chris, how impressed were you with Rybakina's week and her performance in the final, coming back from a set down against quite a difficult opponent for her? Because the head-to-head, it was 3-0 to Alexandrova on hard courts, I believe. It was, it was all kind of pointing maybe towards Alexandrova. But yeah, how impressed were you with Rybakina in Ningbo?
I mean, she flipped the switch in that final, then bageling her after losing that first set. So
it was like 9 straight games or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was super impressive. I kind of feel like she must have been a bit more locked in at this point of the season because she knows the WTA Finals is so close, and it is so close for that. So I was more interested probably in her performances versus players who could also qualify. So that Paolini match was particularly impressive to me, 6-3, 6-2. And that match could be significant if Mirra Andreeva had obviously entered another tournament this week to give her more chance of qualifying. So I kind of like the stories within the stories, but clearly she was the one who was the most focused. And you never know what's going to happen if these players who do peak at the end of the season do qualify. They can actually run away with the title at the end of season finals. I
mean, you just spoke about Mirra Andreeva. What is going on there? Because, she came into Ningbo's the top seed. She looked like she was, coasting really in her first match against Zhu. She was 6-4, 2-love up, ended up losing. She's not really had a great time on the tour in the last few months. really since Wimbledon. I would say she's in real danger of not actually being at the tour finals. Hasn't even, maybe you could say, made the effort to even try, because you're not taking a wild card all of a sudden into this week. What has gone on over the last few months for Andreeva? Because she started the season so hot with those WTA 1000 victories, but the second half of the season's really kind of come off a little bit.
She's had some tough results. I think she had some great results at the start of the season, as you say. I did feel bad for her in that loss to Boisson at the French Open, because the crowd had such a big impact there. And in a similar way at the US Open, the crowd had a big impact in that loss to Townsend. So she's had a bit of bad luck in that sense. But also, I'm not sure necessarily that she's wanted to be competing in quite the same way that she has done early in the year. I think the hunger might be kind of not wearing out. I don't think she will wear out, but I think maybe she doesn't want to be there that much. She doesn't enjoy the chase as much as the free hitting and the fun of like playing the tournaments you want. And when it does become that sort of numbers race, clearly she's not that interested in whether she is qualifying for singles or not at this point, and she's going to let it be in the hands of the gods, because I think she's going anyway for the double. So I don't really understand why you wouldn't want to enter a tournament, give yourself a chance, and then you can see if you feel better. You don't have to play the singles if you don't feel like you want to, but give yourself a chance to qualify, because winning 2 1000s means that really, I mean, you deserve to be there.
I agree. It feels odd. It doesn't feel like it gives a total reflection, I would say, on how the season has gone. If I think Andreeva isn't there, even if that is at the expense of Rybakina, because I wouldn't really say Rybakina's had a great season. There's been a lot kind of going on, particularly with the her coaching setup. She does seem to love like the 500 level, but it does feel like maybe, although Rybakina's in the driving seat at the moment, that, with what Andreeva has achieved, it feels that if we wanted a more natural reflection of how the tour has gone this season, that she should be there. But alas, we're not Andreeva. It feels like maybe she wants to kind of look towards the next season already. We shall see. I mean, Jasmine Paolini will be at the tour finals in the singles and doubles. That is an incredible achievement in itself.
And second time consecutively. And also, I was checking this all weekend. She edged Mirra Andreeva to qualify by 5 points, because if Mirra Andreeva is not entered in a tournament, she can't surpass her. So this is one of the closest races. Yeah. So even going into the final tournament, I think Rybakina has to win a match. So it could get very, very interesting. At the same time, it's quite fun. Now we know we are going to get a lot of the top players are going to be there. And I kind of like it. Now the ATP needs to spice up for me, I think.
I mean, it's crazy to think kind of, I know you hate when I bring this up, big three. Only so long ago we were talking about Rybakina as maybe a candidate for the big three, and now she's on the outside trying to get in on the top eight.
Big nine, maybe she's pushing. Exactly.
I mean, just quickly, one other thing on Ningbo for all of our British fans and all of our Emma Raducanu fans. Sadly, it was another tournament to forget for Raducanu, who sort of ended her season, I think, getting her breath tested with a medical timeout. She's now kind of called it quits on her season. So I think, Chris, it's a good time for us to kind of look back on Raducanu in 2025. Not gone to plan at this tournament, but just kind of looking at her season as a whole, how would you sum it up? And I'm going to put you on the spot, mark out of 10.
Oh, good question. Well, I like she's played a lot of matches, so I'm very happy with that. I think she's been probably her most serious professional year on the tour. I think she's made better decisions, and I think she's wanted to be there, which I think is great. Physically, I think there are always going to be question marks. There's always things that come up for Emma. I think whether it's being unlucky or whether it's kind of the nature of the mindset of an individual, I do not know that. But what I do know is that this is a positive year. She's 27 in the race. Really good chance of being seeded in Australia. I think it's a building block season to what potentially could be something even bigger next year. I do have question marks about how high she can go again, because she does get overpowered, and some of those losses, I'm going to say, to top players have been so one-sided. It makes you question if she can do it again. So I'd say overall, I'd give her, probably based on where she's been, I'd give it an 8. I think it's really solid, back in the top 30. and she's much more consistent. So I see that as a positive one. Joel, where are you going?
I think
No, don't.
I think I'm gonna need. I'm gonna go give a 7 or maybe even a 6. I think there's
a 6 feels harsh.
I think maybe 7. I think there's certainly room for improvement. And I do like that she's kind of put herself out there a little bit more. I know we're seeing these really tough losses. Whether that's kind of withdrawing from tournaments or losing from match points up, but I think one of the criticisms I sometimes had was she wasn't really embracing the schedule maybe as much as she should have. And that is actually, to me, one of the reasons she wasn't getting seeded at the Grand Slams, is that she wasn't kind of committing to her schedule. So it was actually nice, I think, to see her in kind of the Asian swing commit herself a bit more, even though we didn't necessarily get the results for British fans that we were expecting. So yeah, for me, there's kind of opportunity. There's kind of, I think, there's more to come. But I've been excited, I think, by the nearly moments, yes, recently. And I've got to say, the match against Sabalenka at Wimbledon, it does give me like some sort of promise. But maybe, I think we're all maybe like realizing, maybe similar with kind of Leylah Fernandez, getting, when both of them got to that US Open final, that, maybe we're not looking at future top 5 players, like certainly higher up in the rankings, but I'm not as excited at that moment. But I still think there's a lot of room for improvement, and she can definitely turn things around.
Well, I think we're optimistic here, and I think a good off season, good coaching setup. It looks like it's set to stick around with her current coach, and that's going well. So that's all we can hope for. And Joel, talking of Leylah Fernandez, I mean, she's actually been doing things on the tour and winning them.
Exactly. I mean, she won out in Tokyo, in Osaka. Naomi Osaka was there as the top seed, but sadly she withdrew before her semi-final, handing Jacqueline Christian the win. But Leylah Fernandez did win in 3 sets against the qualifier. Qualifier I've not heard of, Chris. Maybe you can enlighten me a little bit more. Valentova, 6-love, 5-7, 6-3 to Fernandez.
She had quite the week. I was super impressed with the way that she's been playing. She's very young, so that's probably why you haven't heard of her. She's just 18 years old. She's
another Czech maestro.
Exactly. So she's dangerous. She's up to 57 in the rankings, and she's quietly put together a really good season. She plays a lot on the lower levels of WTA as well as ITF, and she's 49-12 for the year. So she's got a lot of confidence. So we might be seeing a lot more of her next year.
Yeah, very, very interesting indeed. Maybe one to watch for the Australian Open at the start of next season. Yeah, because she did put up a big fight against Leylah Fernandez.
She did. She really did.
And moving on to the ATP Tour, Chris, we can rejoice. Daniil Medvedev in Almaty has finally won. He's finally won another tour title, 882 days after he triumphed in Rome, I think back in 2023.
I mean, that was a fever dream in itself, Rome. I was thinking, when was that? I mean, that was the wet.
Times have changed a lot. Times have changed a lot. But he defeated Mute in the final, 7-5, 4-6, 6-3. Tough slug out against the Frenchman. I felt like a lot on the line for both of them, because Mute, still hasn't won that elusive, tour title. Was in a tour final earlier this year as well. So there was a lot on the line for both of them. But what does this mean for Daniil Medvedev? New coaching setup, Thomas Johansson in the coaching box. What does this mean for Medvedev? And have you seen any improvements that Johansson has brought into the Medvedev game?
Oh, I'm not sure I've seen improvements. I think Medvedev, it's between the ears a lot of the times with him. I mean, he's been in great situations, not come through them. A lot of close matches, a lot of players that he used to be able to wear down almost were beating him. Like even this match, the scoreline is not necessarily what you'd expect for someone who used to be so rock solid. So I think consistency clearly has improved for him. I think it's an important stepping stone that he is able to still win. It is a 250 title, remember, and he's won a slam. Yes. So I think perspective is needed. I think getting that duck out of the way, it's been a while, as we've said. We really laboured it. I mean, I was thinking, what was I doing 881 or 82 days ago? But still, he's done it. So I'm not sure he's thinking he's going to qualify for the ATP finals, but I think he wants to get some momentum and maybe put this season behind him.
I mean, I would arguably say I think he played better tennis in Asia. You know, you're getting to the semi-finals in Shanghai. Loved his pair of matches against Lerner Teen. You know, had some
series,
some good, yeah, exactly. Had some good victories, and you know, these are the tournaments that I expect Medvedev to win, and for such a long time, he's just not been winning them, and it might not necessarily have been the prettiest picture. I mean, 3 sets against Duckworth as well in the semi-finals. It maybe wasn't as ruthless as it could have been, but it's certainly a step in the right direction. And I think one of the things I've noticed with Medvedev's game is that I think with Johansson, I think it's kind of like that realization that, you know, I'm getting slightly older. I'm 29 years old. I can't do what I was doing before and try and hang in the point and be the defensive octopus for as long as possible. I've got to keep the rally short. I've got to be more aggressive and go for my shots and end the points earlier, because if I get embroiled in these baseline rallies, the more and more I'm just not gonna, you know, progress and develop. So I feel like that's maybe something I've seen a little bit more. You know, he's taking the ball on a bit more and not getting so passive maybe as he was before.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see him win matches. And I think you've got to try and take it to your opponent. I think we'll talk about it with Casper Ruud. I mean, he's been too defensive at times. He was super aggressive in Stockholm. I'm not saying that Medvedev is ever going to be the most aggressive player on the tour, but he is getting himself into a lot of long rallies. And I'm not sure that he needs to against some of these opponents. So I think it's a case where let's see what happens from here. But I mean, it is wonderful that he's won 21 titles, I believe, in 21 different places, which is almost
it's so Medvedev.
It's so Medvedev, which means he should almost pick the tournaments to play that he hasn't won yet.
Yes,
right?
He needs to add more cities.
He should play in Greece. That's a new one.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Yeah. I mean, we do have also the European Open where Felix Auger Aliassime has run out as the winner against Lehechka. Another 3-set victory in the final here, 7-6, 6-7, 6-2. I believe Auger Aliassime had championship points in the second set. So
he did.
Impressive.
Classic Felix. Yeah,
impressive stuff. Not to go into meltdown kind of after that moment. But yeah, I thought it was quite interesting. He before he won his first title, we were talking about his record. He was 0-8 in tour finals. But actually since then, since he's got the monkey off his back, he's 8-3. So he is getting a lot closer to parity, and he's getting a lot closer also to the top 10.
Well, he really is. He's definitely he's back up playing well. I think the thing that I find most positive about this is that this is after that US Open semi-final. And I think that's really important that like you do build momentum as well. We've talked about it with all the players we've spoken about today, is that it is about kind of the positive increment he's been making since he won that first title at the start of this year. He's then progressed since then. He had a little bit of a dip kind of in the middle part of the season. But I mean, he's a great player. And in the live rankings, you know, he is actually right up there in the top 10. So I think he'll be thinking about the ATP finals now because he's at number 9. He's just behind Musetti. And when you think about it, Djokovic has qualified. Will he play? You never know. So I think he's got something more to play for. And I think probably maybe that's what he was thinking about when he didn't take that match point in 2.
I mean, he's along with Jannik Sinner, I feel like you think about Felix Auger-Aliassime, this is bread and butter, indoor hard courts. He loves this surface. And it seems he's pulling out the big victories as well, because he's now 5-1 versus top 20 opponents since the US Open. So it definitely feels like he has got his confidence back. And yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll see him at the Tour Finals. And we're going to move on now to the Stockholm Open. And I'm really excited about this part of the show because it does mean that Alina has joined us, because Chris and Alina were in Stockholm on Tennis Weekly business going behind the scenes. So we're going to be talking about their little outing out to the tournament. We're going to be doing a bit of peak pit pleasant surprise as well as getting into the results. But the first question I have to ask both of you, Chris and Alina, did you find Magnus Norman?
I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not. But we did find the Good to Great Academy.
Again.
And it was great. It was great.
Can one of you just explain, maybe Chris, can you just explain what is the context of Magnus Norman and this on-running joke we have about being on our Indiana Jones-esque quest?
It's the Magnus Norman law here, because we have actually spoken to him. We should make this clear. I almost forgot this as well. Like a few years ago in Boston, but we were going to get a proper sit down last year, and we thought it was all planned. We were going to hit at the academy, maybe have a spot of lunch, and then go and speak to Magnus. Didn't work out that way because Stan made his first semi-final in months and months and months. So the day we planned it had to be cancelled because he was actually coaching Stan at the tournament. So that didn't happen. And this year, Alina, he wasn't even in the same country as us.
No, he was doing great in Basel.
Yeah, he's doing good to great in Basel. So didn't work out this time, but we do have many other things that we can tell you, Joel, when we do peak pit peasant surprise later.
Well, one player it did work out for is Casper Ruud, because he took home the title, 14th of his career, defeating Ugo Humbert 6-2, 6-3 with a flawless performance. His second career title outside clay. I love how that is a stat. And his first ever title indoors. You were both at the final. Alina, I'm going to let you go first. What did you make of Ruud's performance against Humbert? Is it as flawless as my script notes suggest?
I was actually close down. I was at court level in the photo box. It was incredible to see that drive and the flawlessness. It was clean. It was the cleanest I saw from Casper. I can't say that Ugo played poorly, but it was just too good from Casper, and all that ambition and drive to notice from like so up close. I was really, really impressed. But Chris, you were higher up. You were in the media stands.
I was. Alina, I was very much close to the action, so you should probably tell the velocity he was hitting with. But from my perspective, I mean, people were gasping at some of the shot making, especially on the backhand. I mean, he was absolutely pummeling the ball. And I think what was interesting about this one, Joel, is from the matchup perspective, everyone thinks Humbert is the indoor player, but actually Casper just completely took his opportunity to be aggressive away from him. And he just went so early, got the first strike in. And that's something that, I mean, Joel, do we associate first strike tennis with Casper Ruud?
No, not overly. I don't even associate indoor hard court really with.
He's
with
the indoor hard court match leader this year. I asked him. He was not actually surprised. I think he did know, didn't he, Alina? He was quite like, yes, I am. And I asked.
Well, he got all the way to the. Well, he won that tournament, the Masters event on clay indoors.
Final of Dallas this year indoors. Always surprises me that one's indoors. But I mean, he said it was his best performance of the year, and he won the Madrid Open. So
that's it.
He's peaking at the right time. But is it too late? Is the question from the ATP Finals perspective. We've got into it, Alina, on the WTA side of things. Could you see a late surge from Casper for the ATP Finals?
He looked surprisingly relaxed. He looked in good shape. I think we saw him across, I don't know, like in the past 3 years. We met him a bunch of times on tour, and we were always surprised how hardcore he looked. But this time we were like positively surprised about how well he looked. He looked like to be in shape, relaxed, motivated, not so like stressed about the tour. He is very well aware of what's going on around him and what his situation is. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a good run from Casper, bringing all this like good vibes from Stockholm forward.
Yeah, I mean, it will be interesting. I think a lot rests or is determined by will Novak Djokovic be playing the Tour Finals, because he is qualified, and I believe actually he's set a record, or he's equaled the record Roger Federer has in terms of the number of qualifications for Tour Finals. 18th now.
Wow.
But yes, will he play is a question, and I'm hoping if I'm in Casper Ruud's camp, I think the answer is probably not, because
it was a similar thing last year, Joel. Do you remember? I think I asked Casper if does Novak let them know? Does he text Novak and say, do I have to
insider
book this,
knowledge,
or do I have to book this flight to Metz? You know, and I think they all did last year. And then in the end, they actually just got the flight and left. So I think, you know, it is a.
Is he going as the alternate?
I mean, you still get a lot of money though, so I still would book a flight.
Well, we shall see. I mean, there was a little bit of sad news because as good as a week it was for Casper Ruud, it ended in heartbreak for Holger Rune in his semi-final against Ugo Humbert. He came in as the top seed. He was a set up against Humbert. It looked like, we're going to get an all Scandi final. Everyone was going to absolutely love it. But unfortunately, Holger Rune has suffered a nasty, nasty injury on the court. I think he's snapped his Achilles. Prognosis is not looking good for, the rest of the season and beyond. Chris, what was kind of the reaction and the kind of atmosphere, around this news, because this is not something you want to see on a tennis court. Holger Rune in tears as well, very upsetting, very emotional. But yeah, how did this sort of impact, I guess, the tournament, given where it was?
It's tough because obviously so close to Denmark, there's a lot of attention, a lot of support for him there. He did actually have an upper sort of thigh issue the day before, which required strapping. So I think for a lot of people, they weren't necessarily expecting him to play that final. Mm-hmm. And I think they thought maybe it was that was causing the problem and the retirement, but it was actually much worse. And Alina, we were talking, there was some inside scoop in the media room, 3 to 6 months being mentioned, but we did find out it's for this sort of an injury, it's going to be a lot longer, right?
Yeah, the numbers were going. So you hear different things from everybody, from coaches, from inner circle, but it definitely looks like this is not just the type of niggles that Holger had until now. This is probably his first long injury ever. So
when are we going to see him back on the tennis court?
Next year, probably.
Wow.
And it will be very, very interesting to see what type of player we're going to see, how this will change him and what it will change in his attitude on court and in his calendar strategy for once.
I mean, it's going to be tough because we haven't seen an injury like this big and bad for a while, which is just like blanket 9 months pretty much. I mean, you can't do impact sport when you've done your Achilles this badly. I mean, he heard the pop. There's no doubt what it is. And at this age, someone who loves to play, as Elena, you say, like, he will be changed by having to sit out because that's not how he's lived his life until now. And maybe the only positive that could come from this, maybe some perspective. Some people are too focused on the game at times. But you wouldn't wish this upon anybody. And there's been a lot of support from fellow players, especially given how unfortunate this is.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we're going to get into the second half, the whole situation, because, there's been a few comments around the Rune injury from the likes of Jack Draper. So we'll have to wait and see. Very quickly, before we do get into Peak Pit and Pleasant Surprise, Casper Ruud did say that he thought this was the best match he has played of the year, I think. Chris, was that the level it was?
Well, I mean, I asked him if it was the best match he's ever played in a hard court, and he said, I don't see why not. I think he said he actually surprised himself.
Saving his best for a 250.
Well, I actually asked him another question as well, being like, everyone's complaining about how long the season is. Would you like it to be a bit longer at this point because you're playing so well? So at the moment, I mean, he's not winning the clay 250s. He's winning the hard court 250s. So it could be in a new era, Joel.
Okay. Right. Well, let's move on and talk about Peak Pit Pleasant Surprise, because we do like to get a bit on the tournament itself. For any of our listeners who might be interested in going, might be interested to know what the Stockholm Open is like.
I wouldn't promise too much, Joel.
All right. I won't promise too much, but Peak Pit Pleasant Surprise, we're going to have your favourite moment, collectively, your favourite moment, your kind of your low light moment, and your pleasant surprise. What was your pleasant surprise? So we're going to start with what was the peak moment collectively from you both from your trip?
Ooh, I will start here because I think, Chris, we had a first finally.
Yes.
This was our third time at Kungliga Tennishallen, which literally means the Royal Tennis Hall. And we actually get to brush upon royalty. Me more literally than you.
Yes.
I was literally in the photo box that is placed in front of the royal box.
Oh, wow.
And little did I know, once the Zoom cameras turned around, to photograph somebody that it was actually royalty. I thought, like, is there influencers in the box? Is like some famous Danish singers? Eurovision, maybe? Chris, you might know a
ABBA are
couple.
here.
ABBA, somebody. And I was told that royalty is in the house for once. So it happened.
You brushed with royalty. And my favorite part of this was we were in the press room after this had happened, and someone asked if they could take a picture with us of the press setup for the final press conference for Casper. And Alina said, well, it's the back of my head. Royalty has been looking at the back of my head, so everyone else may as well if it's good enough for them. So I thought that was pretty iconic. I mean, we did have Prince Daniel, who will be the king consort, and his daughter, who could be a future queen of Sweden. So
wow,
that's pretty big, I would say. And Alina, whilst you were there, did you overhear anything, or can you not tell us any royal secrets? Royal secrets are certainly a talking point in the UK at the moment.
Well, Scandinavians are known to have had a couple of secrets bursting recently, so we'll keep it on a down low.
Okay,
so the gossip is not going to start from here.
I love how
tell us after.
The picture of them, they feel very very low key for royalty. So I really like how the sort of, it's like they're every person royalty.
It is very Swedish. That is they're humble people.
Yeah,
right.
But also it was not like there was no extra security guards or anything.
Alina
so
wasn't
vetted.
I was like, who said she could go? I mean, I would check Alina out if I saw her for sure, but she was waved through.
Right, Chris, Pitt. We're going to move on. We've had the highlight. What was the low light of the trip?
Well, it's kind of always a bit of a low light because we've seen it before. It's so awkward at this trophy presentation because the winner gets this wonderful sort of globe, like stunning sort of platinum type trophy that's very heavy, Casper said. And then the loser literally gets absolutely nothing. He's not even holding, I mean, he does get a check, but he's not even holding the fake big check.
No second trophy, no
nothing.
Sort of smaller version of the main trophy.
Not even a plate, not even a dish. It's just flowers, and it's the same flowers the winner gets. So you'd have to hold the flowers for the trophy presentation, the pictures, which is not great. But it does make me think of something else that we heard, is that even this year they've gone one further, and you also get a platinum ring made out of the same material as the trophy. So just to rub it in, you've also missed out on that. It's almost like when someone wins a car as well as the title. But I've got a sort of a double pit here because that's not necessarily a personal pit for us. I think the personal pit might be that Vogue Scandinavia were in the media room again this year. And actually, they described our place of work as in the bowels of the historic stadium. So when I think about the time I've had in Sweden, I don't want to think that I was in the bowels of anything. I actually thought I had a wonderful time. So if Vogue were down there, it can't be too bad. But at the same time, we were humbled, Alina.
The description was everything.
It was very descriptive. And I mean, Casper didn't necessarily love that ring. So maybe he said it was better for...
I was going to say, that's quite a fashion choice. I mean, this isn't the Super Bowl. Platinum ring.
Well, I think he actually didn't love that moment because in the Vogue article, they talk about the fact that soon that might be an engagement ring for his pregnant girlfriend. And I'm not sure that's on the cards just yet. So we will see. So awkward for everybody.
Okay, right. We need to swiftly move on then. What was the pleasant surprise of the trip?
Oh, I was pleasantly surprised one morning, actually. And Chris, you're getting on a hot seat again.
Yes.
You did something very unexpected, but pleasant nevertheless. So we have our little tradition in Stockholm. One weekend morning, we head out to our favorite cafe. Very local, very down
No
low.
gatekeeping. Name drop, Alina, please.
It's called Gunnarsson's, I think.
Listeners, make a note. Gunnarsson's.
Okay, there you go.
It feels like it's a place in time that
Twin
is not...
Peaks diner vibe.
It's very special. And
us and the old people, basically.
Exactly. At that time in the morning, there's nobody else. But this morning was Chris, who had an extra reveal for me as we sat down. Chris revealed what his, I think you called it the best, most iconic collab.
It is. Are you ready, Joel?
Here we go.
I can reveal as well, listeners, it's on the pod as well. I'm wearing
The Venus.
My
did it
Venus
first.
did it first.
Oh, I love it.
Lacoste limited collection. She did with her brand 11. It's a nod to René Lacoste, and the fact that René did it first is their signature line there. So I've been trying to track this one down. Elena's
I
known
was
this.
trying to
That's
track
really
this one
really
down.
cool. Yeah.
It is cool. I mean, listeners, I should £34 Sports Direct if you're in the UK. Well worth it. Reduced from 180. So we love a bargain. And Alina didn't know that I was going to wear this. And so I tried to do it casually. And I think
You
people
were like
thought
hiding it.
I was hiding it in
from
my coat, Joel.
home.
So I think she thought I was flashing her. So at one point, she might have thought it would have been a very unpleasant surprise. But we got through it. Everything is fine.
And a very pleasant surprise.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I mean, it looks very, very flash. Maybe
do you want one, Joel?
Maybe I'll have
Matching?
to look and invest. Maybe I'll investigate first of all. Get down
Get
to
it
my
in.
local.
It's also available in white,
Sports
Joel.
Direct. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe we should do some matching outfits.
Or get Kim in.
Or get Kim in. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe that's
unlucky
for the
Kim.
better. I
Yeah.
don't know. Listeners, do let us know. But we're going to take a quick break now. Do join us in the second half where we will be discussing Jack Draper and Frances Tiafoe making major coaching changes. We discuss Jack Draper's comments on the season and Holger Rune's injuries. And we look ahead to a trio of 500 events as play gets underway in Vienna, Basel and Tokyo. So do not go anywhere. Welcome back to the Tennis Weekly podcast, and we are kicking off the second half, as always, with another game. And usually I am the quiz master, but because Alina is on the show, Alina, you are afforded the special duties of being the quiz master.
It's good to be in the six. Last time, I think I was in the quiz.
You were in the hot seat last time, so you've
Yes.
earned a right to put someone else into the fire.
And who better than Chris and Joel?
God, I'm regretting that we agreed to this, Joel.
So, Chris, should you reveal what our quiz is about?
I actually don't know because that would be cheating.
Ooh, okay. Then I will go, and it's not that hard. It's Stockholm Open related.
Okay.
We've been in Scandinavia.
I might know what this is actually.
Are you
Because
trying
we
to drop
talked about
clues
it.
to Chris? Yeah.
Breadcrumbing at its finest. I would say let's go and do a par for the courts. And
Right.
guess
Okay.
classic.
Scandinavian winners of Stockholm Open,
Oh,
a tournament with history. So
Right.
a lot to
Joel,
choose from.
and we're going to do this together, aren't we, Chris?
I mean,
I feel like I
think
have
for
to. I
your
don't think
sake-
it's fair.
for your sake, probably.
Almost don't think it's fair. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it together, which means, Alina, you have to set par.
So if you're doing it together, let's set par a bit higher. So we're
Okay.
going to set par at 6.
And how many
Goodness.
correct answers are there in total?
We have 8 correct
8.
answers.
Okay, 6 out of
So
8.
the
Goodness,
challenge
she is quite the
on.
taskmaster.
I don't know, Chris, if I can name 6 Scandinavian players.
6 Scandinavian people you might struggle with. And for reference, Joel, do you know Scandinavia? Do you want me to tell you which countries are included in
Yeah,
that?
go on.
You can have Sweden, Denmark, Norway, but you can't
Yeah.
have Finland. Is that right? Can we have Iceland? I'm not sure there's been an Icelandic
We
champion.
cannot have Iceland.
Okay,
Okay.
no Iceland.
All right.
Well, we can do this. Pars
Okay.
at 6. I'll let you go for some of the easy ones.
Let me pick up the opening answers. Sure. I mean, first of all, Casper Ruud.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Good. Well
Yes.
done, Joel.
Right, Chris, it's all over to you now.
You got to
for
give
the
me
rest of it.
one good one deep cut. But
in my head, I had Robin Soderling.
oh,
Sweden in Stockholm, maybe.
I'm not sure. Maybe
You're
we'll
not
come
sure?
back to that.
Oh, okay. Who
I was going to go for someone we've already mentioned, Thomas Johansson.
Oh, yeah, very good player. Yeah.
Is that your final?
It
name?
is. I've locked in.
Yes.
All right. Well, that is correct.
Yes.
We have
Okay.
2.
Okay.
I have seen his picture in the halls of Kungliga Tennishallen.
How long is the Stockholm Open? How long is it going on for? Like,
It's been going on a while.
like beyond Borg a while?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Since 1969,
Oh,
is it,
right.
I think.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Right. It's got to be. Yeah. Right. Alina, next answer. Beyond Borg.
That is correct.
Okay.
Multiple champions, surely.
Halfway there. Right.
Right. I think, Joel, you could probably get an easy one. who we actually also talked about. We talked about all of them already. A certain Dane.
Holger Rune.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Gonna lock it in, Alina. Holger Rune.
Holger Rune is correct. 2022, and we actually saw it, Chris.
We did see that one. Now it gets tougher.
I've got some other Swedish players up my sleeve.
Who do we think?
I don't know if this is right, but I'm thinking Jonas Bjorkman? Magnus Norman?
Jonas, let's lock it in.
Jonas Bjorkman. Okay. Jonas Bjorkman, Alina.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct. And he won it just once. So you were very, very
Oh,
close
that's almost a pointless answer, Joel, if it was on.
1997.
Yeah, he was a very good, I remember, a very good tennis player.
Good doubles player as well.
Yeah, very good doubles player, yeah.
Very handy.
Okay.
Right, how many have we got? 5?
Yeah.
One more for par.
Don't think Magnus Norman's won it because I think I would have asked him about it.
Okay.
So we're looking for a Swede.
Emer?
No.
No? They two? Okay.
I think a tournament director, a different tournament director might have done well. I think Thomas Enqvist. I think he could have done it.
The only other option I was thinking was Joachim Johansson. Like, I'm thinking,
goodness, that
tall guy on a indoor court.
He probably should have done better, but I can't see it. But let's stick with.
Should go Enqvist,
and then I think we can call it a day.
Okay, we're gonna go Enqvist, Alina.
Enqvist is correct.
We've made it right.
Yes,
now
you made par.
We've got to show off, Joel. Who are we going to go for? Are we going to go Norman? Oh,
I think I've named all the people I could probably name.
There's definitely another Swede I'm thinking of somewhere from that same sort of era as Borg. Is there someone?
Think about me at Roland Garros round.
Oh, Mats Wilander.
Oh, of course. Yes.
Oh, Edberg. That
And
must be
Stefan.
that must be everybody. I was going to say Soderling and Norman at one point, and I was like,
Soderling actually was a twice finalist, never won it.
it's not a bad guess.
Interesting.
Not a bad guess.
Alina, I think maybe you were a bit kind on me with that one. And Joel, I'm happy to win with you because often we aren't always winning together, are we?
No. It's actually quite good to feel on the winner's circle, yeah, because it doesn't happen very often.
Scandinavian knowledge.
It wasn't a fair playing field, so I'm glad we did it together.
Yeah. But listeners, let us know, how did you get on with our Scandinavian themed Stockholm Open quiz? Did you reach par, or were you struggling or going for some deep cuts like myself? Do let us know. We're going to move on now, though, to the mailbag. And we had Max on Twitter this week get in touch with us. And it's another Scandinavian themed mailbag. In light of Holger Rune's horrific injury in Stockholm and the public comments it sparked from Jack Draper saying, "We are pushing our bodies to do things they aren't supposed to do in elite sport. The tour and calendar have to adapt if any of us are going to achieve some sort of longevity. Do you think players need to take more accountability for how they choose to manage their schedule and their bodies?"
Mm-hmm. Tasty one, Joel.
Interesting one, yes. So I mentioned this before the break, but a few comments coming out. Jack Draper is probably the most eye-catching. Chris, I'm going to come to you first because, there has been, of course, been a lot of kind of talk on the schedule. And, is this a schedule thing or is this a player thing and them needing to kind of look at it themselves and take action themselves as opposed to kind of just blaming what's kind of going on around them? Where do you stand?
Well, I think firstly, I believe everyone has agency and these players have agency. I mean, Novak Djokovic, you can't force him on a tennis court unless he wants to be there. And Casper said the same thing in press this week. He said, you don't go to jail if you don't play these tournaments. Sure, you might get fines. If you don't play the 500 quota, you won't get the bonus pool either. There are certain consequences, but you're in the business to win Grand Slams and to make history in tennis. So that's what you should be focusing on. A lot of the rest of it is just noise. So in terms of these comments, I think it's probably broader than just, Holger's injury. Shanghai, that was not great for players, those conditions. I did not like seeing that. And I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for that. If you are a competitive player, you want to play your best and you can't in the conditions you've been given. I do think, though, with Holger, it was a bit different, wasn't it, Alina? Because he did have that injury that he picked up the day before and then he played. And I don't know if it is connected, but it felt like if you have an injury, you might not play the same way. And then you put yourself more at risk of another injury. Whereas if you didn't play, you probably wouldn't have necessarily had that injury.
Yeah, exactly. It's decisions, it's advice as well. In the end, where's that coming from? Now the players are surrounded by very, I feel like, short-term advice and short-term visions from coaches, from agents, from, I don't know, federation reps. And everybody has like a short-term goal. And you want to maximize exposure, you want to maximize
money,
fees and visibility and points and everything that might increase that paycheck. So are they getting the correct advice when it comes to the calendar, when it comes to making those decisions that might tip in their favor?
Did Holger get greedy is my question.
We were very much in doubt that he's actually going to play, seeing him limping and having a hard time serving.
So he put himself at risk is what we're saying in many ways. And I think that's something where if you are, at Jack Draper's level, Joel, do you think that he's someone who is at the most suffering from this in terms of the fact that he can't choose where he wants to play? I mean, has he played a full season to say the schedule's too long?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was, a little bit surprising, coming from him, given his situation at the moment. But I think it comes down to being able to adapt. And if you're kind of fully fit for the season, I don't think it was like 10 years ago where you could play a full season and, that feel manageable. I think the schedule has got so ridiculous and heavy that players are failing to adapt, I think, to these changing circumstances around them. And I wonder, with Holger Rune, I do sympathize with him because to me, he's a player who loves playing tennis, almost probably loves playing tennis too much. And he's one of these players who just plays so many tournaments. And I think, nature of kind of probabilities is the more tennis you play, the more likely maybe you're going to be putting yourself at risk. So I think it's a very kind of stern warning maybe to the rest of the locker field, that to the locker room even, that players need to adapt regardless of if they're going to get fined or not. They've got to look after themselves, and you can't just kind of keep going on and just having this kind of never-ending maybe tour this cycle, because working hurt, playing injured, that's not the way I think to do it. I think the way to do it is, like Novak Djokovic, and kind of maybe be a bit more pick and choose. Now, I understand Novak Djokovic is in a completely different position. He's won everything imaginable and he just wants to focus on the Grand Slams. But I do think we're getting to a point once again where, we saw that kind of pick and choose strategy with older players who might want to kind of balance it out with their families, or, they've been there, done that on the tour, and they just want to choose their tournaments. But again, I think we're seeing it hit the kind of the younger guys on the tour, and it's something again that everyone I think is going to need to do in terms of adapting to what feels comfortable to them, so that they don't kind of put themselves at risk. Because it just feels like at the moment a lot of players feel obligated to play when they're not 100%, and putting themselves in these situations where ultimately the worst thing could happen, as we've seen in Holger Rune's case. And no one wants to see that. No fans want to also see, I think, tennis players playing at 70% on the tour. Absolutely, exhibitions, fine by me, but we want to see them at 100%. And if the schedule isn't going to get kind of minimized or shrunk, and that's not going to happen anytime soon, then they need to go and adapt and talk to their team. And as you said, Alina, think about the advice that they're getting and actually take a step back and look at their schedule, I think, a little bit more.
I think it is a time where everyone is talking about this. And I think it's what Djokovic said. If you do want to make a change, you've got to be vocal on it, but you've also got to stick to it. You know, he's made it clear he's not going to play all these tournaments. He's going to play the ones that he wants to play. And I think that's, again, a luxury he has. I think it helps other players who wouldn't necessarily get into these tournaments if they weren't 2 weeks, some of these 2 week masters. So it's not just the top players saying they're suffering. I think actually it's giving opportunities to other players, you know, like, you know, we've seen in Shanghai, we had a lucky loser who got in because some of these players had been playing too much potentially in Shanghai and then win the title. So there is a flip side to it. I do think players need to take more responsibility though. Ultimately for that question, are we in agreement that not take more responsibility, but need to think about what works for them, as Joel said, and find that recipe and not let it be dictated to them by the tour?
I think the players are going to be naive to think that the tour is just going to magically shrink and accommodate them.
Off.
Exactly.
Yeah, tell that to my employer.
The structure is just not going to happen. So players need to kind of take it upon themselves and make it work. You know, make the tour work for them, because at the moment, I don't think the tour is working for the majority of players, and there's no kind of, you know, it's not like the PTPA. There's no sort of union, I think, or embodiment that is going to create change immediately. So the best thing you can do is look out for yourself and your own team, and that starts, I think, with, you know, looking at your schedule. And I think the Holger Rune injury, I think, is going to be a sort of a rain check moment for a lot of the kind of players who play, I think, kind of relentlessly maybe on the tour, that hang on, I don't want to overdo it here, because, you know, from Rune's point of view, he's going to be missing a lot of tournaments, and it is so hard to kind of come back from the doldrums of a ranking in, you know, far down. It takes just kind of 6 months to just kind of get back to where you were. So, you know, it's big kind of jeopardy and risk at play.
It's a warning. And Alina, I'll say one question for you. Do you think if players do start to play more sensibly with their schedule, that the ATP will have to listen, knowing that they're not going to get the top players at all of these tournaments? Is there hope if players do actually take it into their own hands?
I surely hope they're going to do so, because I feel like it's twofolded. And tournaments and the ATP tour is, I don't know, it just rewards this like grind mentality that I feel like it's so old school. I do hope that in the future I will see strategic players that think about, if not their bodies and schedules, of longevity. We do want to see them, you know, having long careers. And I mean, if we look at the Williams sisters and even Stan, like the number of events they play per year is not that big. So there is a correlation there, at least, to be taken in consideration. So I do hope we see smarter architects, and maybe a new position in the staff, in the player staff, like an
ATP, like someone to take on the ATP, like a bouncer, you know, to stop them coming near you. But that's a really good point. I do think it's almost like the more time you spend on court when you're younger, the less time you'll spend on when you're older. And I think there's probably a correlation if you think about that.
Yeah, Well, we'll have to wait and see. But a very good question, listeners. If you've got a question for the mailbag, do get in touch with us. But Alina, it's great having you on the show. Loved hearing your little insights into Stockholm and your brush with royalty.
But brush with something else from me when I opened up my coat. No, sorry, royalty.
Brush with
the crown
with royalty. Yeah. One last question. I noticed in the Vienna draw is Jannik Sinner versus Daniel Altmaier, round one. Were you triggered by seeing that? Because I believe you saw them face off earlier this season.
I got very triggered because I woke up, I think it was Saturday morning, and I just saw that in my Instagram feed, a big splash. And I was like, oh God, will I watch this? Will I not? Well,
what was so bad about it?
It was 4 hours and a half.
It was in Paris, wasn't it? A Roland Garros 2023?
Yes. It was that massive loss where I just said, I think it's the longest I've been on
Yeah.
a Roland Garros
Alina,
court
listeners, Alina
seated.
lost it fully. I had to go and get her a pastry.
That's
We had to
the
leave
biggest
the ground.
Had to go
So
get a pastry.
cookie
How
ever.
continental of you.
I know it was actually very continental. Or maybe it was a Magnum. I can't remember. Either way,
It was a
continental.
massive chocolate cookie,
Oh,
Chris.
chocolate
I
cookie.
remember
Oh, okay,
it. It
there we
was
go.
this big.
He
It
did
was,
lose, but things have got better for him. Will it be a repeat quickly, Alina, from you?
I'm not sure. It's still, let's see how many cookies I manage to find.
Okay, I'll buy you some cookies. I'll drop them off, Alina.
Well, Alina, thank you for joining us. And until next time, yes, we've enjoyed your company. And yeah, hopefully you'll be back at Tennis Weekly HQ very, very soon. We're going to get back to just Joel and Chris because we've got big talking points to talk about. And that is namely to do with Jack Draper and Frances Tiafoe in Coaching Corner. Jack Draper, first of all. Now, a few weeks ago, it was announced that Jamie Delgado was coming on board into his coaching team. A few of us were kind of thinking, okay, how is that going to work with his current coach, John Trotman, who he's had lots of success with on the tour over the last, over the last 4 years or so. Well, it turns out this week, Trotman is exiting the Draper team. So it's going to be just Jamie Delgado leading the Draper camp as head coach. Chris, what did you make of this news? Of course, Draper at the moment is resting up, injury. He's due to come back later this year in London at the UTS Grand Finals. But the fact that Draper has now effectively switched Trotman, someone he's had very successful partnership with for a long time, with Jamie Delgado, Andy Murray's former coach. What did you make of this news?
Well, I mean, the first thing I'll say, and we also sort of discussed this before, Joel, is quite interesting to hear about a new addition to the coaching team, and then so quickly that press release is out of date. So I think it almost felt like...
Should it be the other way round?
Well, normally that's what happens, isn't it? You get told that you're splitting and then you announce the coach. So I don't know, maybe they wanted to get ahead of the news so it was much more positive. Because it is one of those classic ones where it reads like someone didn't want to commit to the time on the tour from Trotman. That's what was said. You know, it's been a great time. It's hard to juggle his family life. And potentially this could have been coming from the fact that when Jack has been injured, spending time at home, he might really enjoy that. So I do understand that. I do feel that for Jack, this is a bit of a blow. I think it was a good partnership, a lot of success.
Do you think there was more mileage there?
I really do. I don't think it was the natural time to call off a partnership. I think there was so many positives, and at times Jack, I mean, pushing in top five, thinking he could do something pretty special, potentially at the French Open or at another slam. And then the only real results you can think of that weren't great, Wimbledon, and maybe there's something there in the fact that he didn't feel like he prepared properly on the grass, ever played well on the grass, and you have to look to your coach and think, did we get this wrong? Which arguably, being a Brit, yeah, you probably did. But beyond that, I think it's been pretty exemplary, and a really big positive and really big success is the fact that they've been working together and that partnership. So for me, odd timing, especially when he's on an injury layoff. But I also understand making the decision when you have such a big training block ahead of you.
Yeah, I mean, Trotman said, I thoroughly enjoyed it, but it was getting increasingly difficult for me juggling the demands Jack deserves as the player that he is, and also being a father and a husband. So yeah, definitely one of these kind of situations where, you know, family life, becomes more important. And, you know, we've spoken about how relentless kind of touring is, the schedule is, and it's not just that on the players, but it's also on the, all the camps and the setups and the coaches as well.
Yeah, Cahill is stepping away from Sinner for that exact reason, right? It's a similar thing. You do have to give up your life for the success of someone else whilst also building your career with them. So it's a tricky situation to be in, and I do understand when people make decisions that are right for them, because I think a lot of people don't. What
do you think Jamie Delgado could bring to Jack Draper that maybe Trotman was missing? Because Delgado's got big Grand Slam time experience with Murray, but also with Grigor Dimitrov as well. What do you think he could add, do you think, to Jack Draper's game?
It's tricky to know. I think obviously with Dimitrov, in their partnership, it was very positive in the sense that Dimitrov was kind of floating for quite a few years before they partnered up, and then he kind of got himself back into a really great spot. I mean, he almost obviously took out Sinner at Wimbledon. I mean,
Yeah.
he's been playing some really great tennis. So I think he can definitely work with players who maybe have injuries or maybe are a bit more injury prone. I think he's good at helping people peak at the right times potentially, with some of the partnerships that he's had. You know, he was with Andy Murray in his really big heyday. So he's got experience making champions. And I think if you were Jack Draper, I mean, whose career do you want to emulate? I mean, it's Andy Murray. So why look any further than Andy Murray's coach?
Yeah, that is a very, very good point. And another player who has also completely transformed his coaching setup in a much more drastic fashion, it has to be said, is Frances Tiafoe, because he has parted ways with his coach, David Witt. But I believe, Chris, he has actually, like, from what I've been reading, he's effectively sacked his whole team.
Yeah.
And he's gone blank canvas. It was announced today that he is bringing Todd Martin on board. But this feels a lot more. This feels a lot more drastic and interesting. Say the kind of the tone of it has been coming from the player, from Tiafoe, as opposed to maybe the coach and kind of family reasons. To me, if I'm Todd Martin, I'm like, uh-oh. There's like he's not afraid to kind of be a bit ruthless, but maybe Tiafoe realized he was at a crossroads in his career.
Well, I mean, I was going to say the exact same thing to you, Joel. Like, do you think that Tiafoe is thinking, hang on a minute, I might not make it? I'm not saying to make it, you have to win a slam, but Madison Keys essentially said that, and you have to come to terms with the fact that you're okay with not doing that. But at the same time, for someone with Tiafoe's talent, he hasn't necessarily had the on-court discipline that's been required. And I think a lot of that needs to come from the coaching setup. So I don't know, if Todd Martin is a taskmaster. I'm not sure necessarily. I haven't actually...
it's a bit of a low-key
American success
assignment. Yeah,
and
under the radar. He didn't have the... a very good player.
Couple of finals at slams. Maybe that's
very
where
well liked as well. Yeah,
the mindset could be similar. That he also didn't quite get the slam win. So I don't think it's a bad decision for Tiafoe to mix it up, because it wasn't a stellar season with David Witt. And I think maybe David Witt's a better coach of WTA players because he had so much success with Sakkari, Pegula as well. So I don't hate this decision from Tiafoe, but at the same time, I hope this isn't him saying, oh, it's the coaching setup there's a problem, not the fact that he's not always serious about his tennis.
Yeah, indeed. It's be an interesting one. I mean, Frances Tiafoe, he's 27 now. He should, in theory, be coming into kind of the peak of his, the peak of his tennis powers. And to think, I still think back to kind of the US Open 2022, going into that fifth set against Carlos Alcaraz. He was very, very close to, reaching a Grand Slam final, and he's just not really been like,
I've never thought he was going to do it again, but he's been so close. And I think it would be such a shame, because the story is incredible if he does it, and so many people, I think Steph Curry said, like, I was like, you got to get serious, man, basically. And I think it's a shame that should be the narrative when he's so successful. But unfortunately, that's what happens with, Nick Kyrgios type, where you have that much talent, it is the burden of great talent can sometimes be too much.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we'll have to see how that goes. Looking forward to this week on the tour, we have a trio of 500 events: Vienna, Basel and Tokyo, plus a 250 out in Guangzhou. Chris, let's quickly look at the draws. I mean, let's start in Vienna, because Jannik Sinner is the top seed there. And
Alina's least favourite match of all time.
As we alluded to, Sinner Altmaier round one.
I'm thinking it's going to go differently to Paris, hopefully, for Sinner. Otherwise, well, maybe not for the fans. Let's get their money's worth. But Sinner's been looking really good, hasn't he? But this is a stacked draw. I mean, Maček Kaboli first round. That is a tough one. But I'm more interested in Bublik, Sinner on an indoor court. I think that could be very tasty given the matches they played this year.
Yeah, that could be a potential quarterfinal. I mean, Taylor Fritz is the top seed in Basel. Ben Shelton, the second seed.
Fritz's draw. Have you seen that?
Slightly less stacked.
Shanghai champion.
Shanghai champion first round. Vachereau asked for a wild card. he got one. And he's been rewarded with the top seed first round.
I mean, that's pretty good. I'm not sure that's an easy section because you've got Korda and Umber playing just below you. So it is interesting because these are really good matches. And I think if you do go to a 500 at this time of the season, a lot of players need to get points and there's a lot of interest in them. So good ticket to have, Joel.
Definitely. And quite, still all to play for, really, in the tour finals on the ATP side of things, a lot more so than on the WTA. I mean, we do have, the event out in Tokyo, which is a 500. Rybakina is playing. I believe she needs to win 2 matches in Tokyo in order to reach the tour finals. So it's on her plate at the moment, but she's got kind of an interesting draw because she could face Fernandez in her opening match and possibly Mboko. I mean,
Mboko
do you feel
Andrescu, interesting. But
do you feel
Rybakina,
sorry. I was just going to say, do you feel like, with Rybakina, is it on her racket, do you feel?
I think the matchup, her versus Fernandez, would be way too good for Rybakina, despite how well Fernandez is playing. But if you're Mirra Andreeva, I mean, I'd be sending some good luck messages to Leylah Fernandez and Maria Sakkari, whoever wins that match, because I'd get them, a present if they did that, because then you're straight into the WTA Finals. But interesting story. I'm not sure she's going to complete the tournament necessarily if she does qualify, because Paolini did enter, and then when she found out that she had qualified, she withdrew. So let's hope she completes it if she wins.
Yes, indeed. And finally, we do have a 250 out in Guangzhou. Bujes Monero.
Kim's favourite.
Where's Kim? Yeah, top seed there. And Lee, second seed. So, I mean, I'm looking at Iala. It's not a stacked. No. Iala, Putintseva, maybe. Yeah. We'll have to see.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know what to say about that one.
We don't know what to say. We're all eyes are on the tour finals because we are getting much closer to understanding who the final 8 are, both on the women's side and the men's side. So definitely all eyes on all the ranking points in those trio of 500s. But we're going to wrap up our latest tour catch up there at Tennis Weekly HQ. We hope you've enjoyed the ride with us. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss a moment of ATP and WTA action. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and all your favorite podcasting platforms out there. And if you love what you're hearing, be sure to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, as well as hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube.
And make sure you stay connected with us on social media, especially our YouTube channel this week, because we've been posting full press conferences from the BNP Paribas Nordic Open. It's the only place you can see them in full. And also, we have clips on our social media. So if you'd like to check them out, what have people been saying? What was Holger Rune saying, as well as, Casper Ruud, the winner. You can find them on our social channels. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and X, and the handle for all of those is Tennis Weekly Pod. If you have a question for us, this is the perfect time. We'll get out our calculators for the tour finals if we need to. Put us through our paces, and you can email us tennisweeklypod@gmail.com or visit our website tennisweekly.co.uk.
And we'll be back next week for another tour catch up. But until then, it's goodbye from Chris.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time on Tennis Weekly.